And just like that, the next episode has begun. Welcome back to, or the final episode I should say, the recording session has begun. Welcome back to Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. I am your host, MegaShadowFist, I suck at video games, I suck at commentary. And when we last left off, we were talking and doing more talking, and now we're going to be doing even less talking. Yes, that's what's going to happen. 100%. Orange juice. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? But what could he possibly have switched the launchpad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with Launchpad 1. The Space Museum? I mean, sure.
Take that!
Launchpad 1 is switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site. Meaning, the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean... The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Borderdash! And yet, it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and Space Museum have already switched places. That's right. And with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from boarding lounge 2, and set the bomb in the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from boarding lounge 2... Welcome! The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Exactly. Anyone can pass through the door to the Space Museum. There is no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. Gah! After setting the bomb in the rocket, the culprit snuck into boarding lounge 1 and waited there, concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Mrs. Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who, we can suppose, after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Right, Dunner. I see you now know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Sword Master Bluff. I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor.
Silence.
But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That's right, you have no proof I switched the launch patch. Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see. This is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you see anything different when we compare it with the security footage? Let's see. 2. There's a 2. Well, okay, hold on. You see that? There's a 2 right there. It's kind of covered up by his arm, but yeah, there's a 2 there. Anything different when compared to the security footage? Huh? That number on the floor. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. And if this is just another bluff. Oh, don't worry. It's all right here. Right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then. Answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum? There's a 1 on the floor in the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. What? Wrong voice. Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Gah! And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1, on the side opposite the Space Museum. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level. Just incredible! The 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed on an event of this magnitude. Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Okay. Bye-bye! Bye-bye! No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time. You told us the truth. The truth! My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to play my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine. Ignition. What? It's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory! No, not that way! That's interesting. I wasn't expecting him to... Okay. Bailiff! On your seat and after the witness! He looks like the most miserable man in the world. I see you managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? I admit it's true. I switched launch pad 1 for the Space Museum. Ah, it is good to hear words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director retrieve his stars. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything else you wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it? What don't you get? Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You You tricked us. Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the space center. Director, will I ever get the chance to go to space again? Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. Then the dream is still alive.
Silence!
What? What? No, yes, like, no, silence. Just... I'm sorry. I'm probably not supposed to laugh at this right now, but I don't know. I'm sorry. You're not getting to space, Starbuck, but prison. I would have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the launch pods really was switched. And if there was a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I've yet to see proof of this third person escape via the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point. He's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you have spilled everything you know. What? Me? Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. If I'm going to die, I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Now, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. That annoyingly cheerful laugh. It can be none other than... Ha! Champion of Righteousness, Bobby Fulbright, here. In justice we trust. Detective Fulbright? Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. Classic Fulbright. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice sure is a full-time job. Was it a fight between cats, or... Why are you here again? I was actually wondering the same thing. Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright, I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope, but it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. Judgment? What evidence? Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence. He did, didn't he? Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. I didn't think he was serious, though. Personally, I thought he was going to get got before he presented that evidence, but that's just me. So what is it, Detective? Is it something... So what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? It is indeed. Have a look at this. What's this? A lighter. That's right, a lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it. What? Ah! Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent. This is it. This is just what I needed. Later add to the court record. なんかちょっと違和感だよね. The lighter found on the floor of the Space Museum. The true culprit's fingerprints are on in the victim's blood. Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped with the lighter in hand into the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the 2 launch pads occurred. Then finally, the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in the boarding lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence.
Oh, but the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time?
Objection!
You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? Wouldn't he? But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with the lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had the time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found in this lighter. I think you understand what that means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow. Is tomorrow the statute of limitations or something?
Silence.
Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Although, honestly, actually, thinking about it though, in real life, the whole DL6 incident case couldn't have actually happened. Actually, first of all, it couldn't have happened because, I actually learned this from watching Kratos' videos, and I fact-checked it. It's impossible to be trapped inside of, there's air holes inside of an elevator. You can't just suffocate. But on top of that, there's no statute of limitation for... This is something I've looked up on my own. There's no statute of limitation in the United States of America, which is where the English version takes place, for heinous crimes. So if you murdered somebody or you did some sexual misconduct or things of that sort, there's no statute of limitations for that. So the whole DL6 problem wouldn't have happened. Anyway, you promised never to speak of that. Although, actually, isn't it supposed to be 15? Hold on. Yeah, the statute of limitations in this universe is 15 years, isn't it? This event only happened 7 years ago, so now. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime, a few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, not guilty. Yay! Yay! Boo! Yay! Actually, never mind. Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Cykes, thank you, and please thank Apollo for me too. You're the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too. That's going to have to wait. Now that a verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned.
Objection!
It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fulbright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? The results? Why are you laughing? Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was the cat fight, and, well, I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbucks, so... You have yet to read it. Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out what the prints belong to? Who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Cykes. What? Well, that one actually threw me for a loop. I was gonna be like, maybe Aura Blackwell, or I don't know, Athena? I mean, sure, okay. Oh, okay. That actually, yeah, okay. I got it. I think I figured out what's going on here. So says the report. What? What? Huh? Me? Order, I say! Order! Miss Cykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this ladder could only belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit! This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece. And I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? Later update in the court record. Evidence found by Detective Fulbright. It has Athena's prints on it in the victim's blood. Gah! What have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, stop your crying! What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. Order! Order! I will have order! Well... Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. Nope, that's the end of case 4. And, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I didn't get a guilty verdict! Ooh, episode 5, Turnabout for Tomorrow. Prologue. No one can escape their past. The sins we've committed, and the sadness we've caused. No matter how far we run, our past remains, as ever presented as the moon in the sky. It looms in wait for the day when we are forced to face it. But only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on and hope towards tomorrow. Investigation Day 1, December 20th, 1:23 p.m. Wright Anything Agency. They took Athena from the courtroom straight to the station. You know, I had a feeling we were going to have to defend her for some reason. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try to keep that in mind and design this trying to explain in due time. But all I want is for you to know that I really did. Like, I believe, like, I don't know why. Why is that always the case? She's probably being questioned at this very moment. So it's just us now, huh? Yeah. After this past year, I take it for granted that those two would always be here. But now, Apollo's gone off on his own to seek his own truth. And my pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be. It's even quieter in here than usual. Yeah. It seems so empty, too. I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid. Yeah, and I still believe it was. At least, based on what we know. But now, Athena's the one who's being accused. During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center, the lighter used by the real culprit was found. This lighter proved the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, innocent. But Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder. But Athena couldn't have done it! It just doesn't make any sense! No, none of it does. I've been racking my brain, but I just can't figure it out. Where's the flaw in my reasoning? What have I got wrong in this case? You know, Daddy, if Athena was here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking. She'd be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy? Of course I will. And thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. Trucy's right. The trial is tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm going to prove Athena's innocence, I better get out there and find some evidence. Off we go, then! We're on a hunt for evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence! Great, but before we go, I'd better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. Unnecessary evidence left at the office. Athena's probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Trucy's right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the Space Center. Trucy is right, isn't she? Actually, I've just realized something. So Blackwell is 28, right? And this event happened 7 years ago, right? So how old was Blackwell when he got framed, I'm assuming, for murder or whatever? 21. You see? That's why I don't like that number, ladies and gentlemen. I've always hated, well, I can't say I've always hated it, but I hate it. Hate it. How old was Leon Kennedy when he got put into Raccoon City? 21. Telling you that number is terrible, and I'm 21, so I'm probably gonna end up somewhere terrible. Let's move to the entrance. See if we can talk to it, because I wanted to at least in December 20th, Cosmos Space Center entrance. Ah, it's you. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute? Galactic Scooter, full speed ahead. Director! He scooted away. His expression changed the instant he saw you, Daddy! Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud pretty good at the trial earlier today. Okay, let's go ahead and... Well, actually, first and foremost, I read that I'm a lawyer. I guess presenting your attorney's badge is like your quick trick, huh, Daddy? So it's just a trick to you, huh? Well, you are one of the talents in our Wright Anything Agency, after all. But I have to say that an attorney's badge won't get many laughs. I don't care if I don't get laughs, as long as I can clear my client's name. That's a good one, Daddy. I'm no match for you, though, Trucy. Okay, let's go to move to the boarding lounge, then. December 20th, Cosmos Space Center, boarding lounge. We were here only yesterday. Oh, hey! Starbuck. Okay. Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yep, and I came straight here. This is all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. You've given me a second chance to fly into space again. I can't thank you enough. Except... What's wrong? I thought he'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Cykes. He saw Athena? I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. And then, you know what? She flashed a peace sign at me. Congratulations on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, that sounds like Athena. I can just picture it. But I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's got to be suffering. She must be worried. She must be so worried. And yet she went out of her way to be nice and give me that big smile. She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena. There's no question about it. That girl is innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. And then they can put me in prison instead. I don't mind. We can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. Don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm going to give her the very best defense I can. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be alright with you in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Apollo's a fine boss to look up to. Alright. All that said in mind, let's go and save over slot 2. Episode 5! This is the final case, ladies and gentlemen. It's the final countdown before we are finished with the game. Let's return to title. Top screen. Yeah, so how does that make you feel, ladies and gentlemen, to know that we're so close? We're not even halfway there. I mean, we're more than halfway there at this point. We're definitely living on a prayer. But yeah, that happened. Athena got... I just had a feeling we were going to have to defend her. I don't know why. It's just like, that's just always how it is. Because, like, you know, Maya, we had to defend twice. And so I was like, Athena, they're probably going to make us defend her too. And yeah, we did. So now we have Blackwell. I mean, Edgeworth is going to make an appearance in this game, of course. So I think maybe what's going to happen is he's going to end up being the chief prosecutor for this case, I think, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to put everything in my head, because I have a very sneaking suspicion that we won't really be seeing much of Fulbright for this case for one reason or another. So, yeah. Whatever the case may be, though, yeah, let's go ahead and end things off here. So, if you like this video or the series of videos, please feel free to leave a like. If you thought it was cool, please feel free to subscribe and join Team Strawberry today. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/MegaShadowFist. I'll be sure to leave that in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and this is MegaShadowFist signing out. Bye!